One of the greatest blessings God ever gives a home is a godly mother. And I want to say this plainly, the world is doing everything it can to tear down biblical motherhood. But God never changed his view of it. And most people don't realize what they had until later in life, sometimes when it's too late. There are people right now who would give anything just to hear their mother pray again, just to sit under her care again, just to hear her voice again. But while they had her, they were distracted, ungrateful, and careless. And now all they have left is regret. A godly mother is not small in the eyes of God. The world may mock motherhood. The world may minimize it. The world may act like it is nothing. But God honors it. Proverbs 31:28 says, "Her children arise up and call her blessed, her husband also, and he praiseth her." That is Bible. God says a godly mother is to be honored, not ignored, not disrespected, not taken for granted, but blessed. And I'll say this clearly, many people don't realize the value of a godly mother until she is gone. Because a mother does things nobody sees. She prays when nobody's watching. She labors when nobody gives her credit. She carries burdens silently. She sacrifices daily without applause. And in many homes, she's the spiritual backbone. God specifically points out the influence of a mother's faith. That tells me something very clear. God takes serious the spiritual influence of a mother in the home. Some of the strongest Christians that ever lived came from a praying mother. Not a perfect mother, but a praying mother, a faithful mother, a godly mother who took the Bible seriously. And let me bring this down where people live. If you had a mother who brought you to church, who taught you right from wrong, who pointed you toward God, who corrected you when you were wrong, who prayed for you when you didn't even know it, you were given something this world is trying to erase. And the devil hates that kind of influence. Because if he can destroy the home, he can destroy a generation. That is why the Bible says in Exodus 20:12, honor thy father and thy mother. That is not culture. That's not tradition. That is a command from God. And honoring your mother is not just something you do when it's convenient. It's something you owe. Now, let me press this a little further. There are young people who will not realize what their mother meant to them until she is no longer there. No more calls, no more advice, no more correction, no more presence, and regret sets in. So hear me clearly. Don't wait until later to appreciate what God gave you now, because later is not promised. Now, I want to speak to mothers for a moment, because in motherhood, there is no weakness. It's a ministry. It is work. It's sacrifice. It is spiritual warfare. There are mothers who are tired, overwhelmed, and feel unnoticed. But God sees it all. Every sleepless night, every prayer whispered for a child, every tear nobody else saw, every burden carried in silence, God sees it. And Galatians 6:9 says, and let us not be weary in welding, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. So don't quit. Keep praying. Keep standing for truth. Keep pointing your children towards Christ. Keep being faithful in your home, because your influence is not small. It's generational. And if God has blessed you with a godly mother, you better thank him for it. Because in a generation that is rejecting the Bible, rejecting authority, rejecting godly order, a godly mother is becoming rare. So don't take her for granted. Call her, honor her, thank her, appreciate her while you still can. Because one of the greatest gifts God ever gives a home is a godly mother. And if you have one who prayed for you, raised you right, and pointed you towards God, you did not just get a mother, you got a blessing from heaven. Most people do not realize the value of a godly mother until it's too late. This message is a Bible-based reminder about the influence, sacrifice, and spiritual impact of a godly mother, and why so many people end up with regret instead of gratitude. If you still have your mother, this is your reminder not to waste that blessing.